Alright, so, on to episode 5, World War III. Continuing after the last episode left off, the Doctor escapes because, much like I said, he's an alien, so it doesn't affect, the electrocution doesn't affect him. Mickey shows up and helps Jackie escape. They go to his apartment. And the Doctor, after some weird games, so the Doctor escapes the room and calls in the military. There are aliens in there. But of course, by the time the Doctor and the military enter the room, which I think takes too fucking long, way too long for him to get in there. Because he leaves, this is what happens, he leaves the room and says, oh come on then, aliens are in here, and it takes forever for them to get in there. All just so they can have the aliens get back in their suits and make it look like he made it up. I'm sorry. Here's a reenactment, alright? Here's a reenactment of what happened. Okay, so he comes out. Alright, we're aliens. Come on then, they're in here. They turned around the corner, but it's still... Come on. Get the suit. Get your foot in. Right there! And they're already in their suits. That's how long it takes. Approximately. And it shouldn't have. He comes right out of the room and tells them the aliens are in there, but it takes forever for them to get back in the room. Bullshit. Also, they could have the gag of, oh look, they got their suits back on. And so the Doctor tries to use his sonic screwdriver and bottle of hooch to say he's going to blow up the place, but of course he can't do it, and so he locks himself, Rose, and Harriet Jones, MP of the Flyfield North, inside a lockdown situation inside the Parliament room. And so now they have contacted Mickey, or Mickey contacted them, whatever, because it was established in an earlier episode that the Doctor messed with Rose's phone so she could communicate to her mom from the TARDIS. So, even though they're locked inside this room with no communications inside or out, this little phone can do it because he's messed with it. So this is how they contact Mickey, and the Doctor helps Mickey hack into a government site unit that will help them use the password Buffalo, 2 F's, 1 L, and hack in his plan. Because Jackie's on the phone and she's yelling at the Doctor, asking if he can keep her daughter safe, and he's not able to answer, and then he's like, there's a way out. There's always been a way out. Well, then why haven't you done it? Because I can't promise I'll keep you safe. You know? Because his plan involves launching a missile, not nuclear, but a missile from a submarine at Downing Street. And this happens just as all the Slitheen, which is what they're called, and turns out it's a surname, and he's trying to figure out what the name, like what planet they're from, which ultimately doesn't do anything because he just blows up the place. But he said they're from that. Whatever that is. Raxacoricophalopatorius. Raxacoricophalopatorius. I don't know. Not that it matters, because they just blow the thing up anyway. And so, when Harriet Jones introduces herself to the doctor, he says the name. Sounds familiar. And by the way, a running joke with Harriet is that she always announces herself. Harriet Jones, MP Flydale North. Or what her later occupation would be. But he's like, Harriet Jones, I know that name. And I love his smile too. And yeah, so here's one thing I want to question here. So they're on the phone call with the doctor for setting this up. And Mickey's doorbell rings. Because the doctor is trying to listen to the transmission. And the doorbell rings. He's like, quiet. He goes, that's not us. That's the door. And so he tells her to go answer the door. She's like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. He's like, I know that. And he's like, who's at the door at 3 in the morning? Go answer and find out. Why would you answer the door when you're in this type of situation? Obviously, it's the slithering guy that came after you at your own apartment, lady. And sure enough, she opens it, and there he is. Now, I want to point out there are so much inconsistencies with the zippers on the head, because as I said in my review for the first part, this officer guy, he removes his hat and you can see the zipper, but he does it here and there's no zipper. It's like, well, is there a zipper or not? And they just do this. Sometimes they show a zipper under the hat, sometimes they don't. It's confusing. And they're calling the aliens green when they're obviously yellow. I don't get it. But they're from Raxatorius. Whatever. So yeah, the doctor has the Mickey send a missile, or a missile as they would call it, to Downing Street, blows it up. And it's kind of funny. They explain the farting. Because they're big creatures, they have to compress their bodies. They're all in fat people, of course. And they have to compress their bodies. So compressing their bodies makes the farting, the gas, whatever. That's why they fart. So they're waiting for a call from somebody, something, whatever it was. The government or something. And so they all decide to do what they say, get naked, which means take off their human suits. And they're all standing there, and then when the missile, it's notified that the missile is coming towards the Downing Street, everybody starts to spread out, and one guy goes upstairs to, by the way, that goofy guy who no one knows his name, they never even asked his name, he's dead. Anyway, guy runs up to tell the people up there, the Slovene family, that, you know, but he doesn't know they're Slovene. He just thinks they're, like, higher-ups. And he walks in on them as aliens, and he runs out. And then, you know. So, yeah, that blows up, and Harriet Jones is like, oh, we don't have a prime minister. And Rose is like, you should run. She's like, me? She's like, I'd vote for you. And then that's when the doctor reveals, I knew I remembered that name. Harriet Jones, future prime minister. And that's how she would announce herself too. Harriet Jones, prime minister. To which most people would say, we know. Harriet Jones, prime minister. Future prime minister. I guess. But yeah, and the doctor, Rose goes back with the doctor. Rose goes back with the doctor, at least Mickey behind. Mickey's too scared to go, so he stays behind, but he doesn't want Rose to know he's too scared, so the doctor just acts like he doesn't want Mickey to be there. You know, he asked him to go, and yeah, Jackie doesn't want her to go, but not really a choice. And I hate this. Because Rose is supposed to be only 19. But clearly, Billie Piper was in her 20s at this point. Mid-20s, possibly. And they're like, oh, she's just a kid. I hate that. When they hire older actors to play 18, 19-year-olds and then say, she's just a kid. When we can clearly see that this 20-something actor is not a kid. Unless you can get actors who look childish, like Tom Holland. You know what I mean? And not the director of Child's Play, the Spider-Man. I'm just saying, don't call them kids if they're 25-year-old actors playing 18, 19-year-olds. That doesn't make any sense to me. Alright? Unless I look the part. And Billie Piper, gorgeous woman. But she doesn't look 19. I'm sorry. She's gorgeous. You're wrong. Beautiful woman. No. But there's a suspension of disbelief with that anyway. You gotta have an older actress to play a younger character because, you know, especially with this stuff, you know, legal stuff, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely think the first part was a little bit better, but this part was kind of good. Not as much to talk about, really, when it comes to story. Next episode, though, we get the return of one of the most lethal villains in Doctor Who history, the Daleks. Until then, or Dalek, the name of the episode is. But till then, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. See you in the next one.